You know, when I first heard the Nolan Wells case or the situation surrounding Nolan Wells, it immediately took me back over 25 years or so to when I was a child. Um, a lot of y'all are asking, when were you gonna speak on the Nolan Wells case? Sorry, I'm touching my hair so much, y'all, but I just don't wanna look crazy. But y'all are asking, when you gonna talk about the Nolan Wells situation? Well, I hadn't said anything yet because the situation is very, very triggering for me. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I was starting out and then I, of course, drifted off into something else as I usually do. But it took me back to when I was a kid. I was 7 or 8 years old. If I'm not mistaken, I was 8 years old. I might have been seven because my big sister was with me and my little brother, who's deceased, was with us. Was down there with us. My mother's side of the family is from Louisiana, so it was nothing for us to go down south for the summer every summer. And prior to this situation that I'm talking about or getting ready to talk about, we had been down south before. We would always go to Nolans, and then we would go to Waterproof, Louisiana. That's in how do you pronounce it? Tanasis Parish or Tennessee Parish? But yeah, this situation specifically happened in Waterproof. But anyway, I had to I had to keep my mouth closed regarding this Nolan Wells situation because it's very triggering to me. And before I get into my story, and I'm going to move as slowly as I need to move telling this story because the situation is triggering. Okay? All I can say is, black people, we are not safe in white spaces. Now, at no time in my life have I ever thought I was a white person or wanted to be around them, any of that. But because I know that I have to coexist on this planet with them, I treat them as normal humans. They don't see us that way. No matter how educated we are, no matter how well spoken we are. You know how they pull that bullshit. No matter what, they will always see a nigga in a coupe, okay? Now that's not anything towards the Wells family or anything because they very much so seems to be very affluent, very put together black family that did not no family deserves this. Let's be clear. But that black family there, oh no, this baby that they raised here, Nolan, he was a star, honey. He was on his way somewhere, going places in life. Okay, and I know y'all will be like, oh, we all say that. There was something very different about Nolan. And I pray to God that everybody involved in this, not you get your justice or none of that. No, I hope that your life turns sour and horrible and terrible real quickly because the Wells family will never forget this situation. Okay. Now to go back to my story about the trip to Waterproof, Louisiana. I remember I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my older sister, me, my younger brother who's deceased, and my cousin Biango, and my cousin Bubba, and I want to say Titi was with us. I don't remember if Titi was with us or not. And these are all my relatives I'm naming. Y'all of course don't know that. But anyway, me, Bubba, Biango, my brother and sister and we walking up the street. You know, the little dirt road down there. They used to be like that again. This was probably like 1987, 88 when this happened, y'all. But there were dirt roads. But we were walking in the middle of the street, but not in the middle of the street, but we were walking far enough away from houses that there was no reason for this man to have brought his ass out of the house. So anyway, as we walking up the streets just talking, because Bubba knew where the candy store was, this white man comes out. He was already watching us. I had already seen him. But I wasn't thinking nothing of it, because I'm a kid. Here comes a person outside of the house. And as we're coming up the street, we laughing and talking. I'm noticing him come out on the porch with his hands on his hips, and he's watching us. And we walk on to the store and we walk past and he's just watching us go past and he on the porch just hawking us down, being a ignorant southern cracker. So on the way back from the store, we come back the same way because it's on the way, the route to my Aunt Honey's house. This motherfucker done come down off his porch now, and now he had a gate with, the shrubbery, the nasty ass, raggedy ass, trailer park home ass style white people that live in the South. Not all of y'all. I'm talking about the motherfucking crack ass crackers that live down there. He done come up off his porch, and I'll never forget what he had on. He had on like this oily ass uniform, like he worked there on cars all day. And I remember it was unbuttoned, and I remember seeing his pale flesh peek between that motherfucking blue and gray shirt that he had on. And the motherfucker come outside of his yard. Mind you, we still walking in the middle of the streets, right? No cars are coming. This is how little waterproof Louisiana is. Like, very few people had cars. If somebody was riding around, it was somebody from out of town that was down there. Or people, they had cars, but they did more walking than anything. But anyway, we coming back down the street and we laughing, and I remember my cousin Bianco handing me a juice, and it was one of them blue rainbow juices, and I remember biting it, opening it, and looking up at that white man as we was coming towards, like, again, we're still in the middle of the street. We were coming to pass the house to walk back to Aunt Honey's house. And this son of a bitch pulled a double barrel shotgun on us and pointed it directly at us, like, and made eye contact with us and said, "Keep walking, niggers." We wasn't even bothering that motherfucker, but he came off the porch to fuck with us. I say that to say, well, let me finish my story first before I start preaching. We of course, as children, we're silent. Now, being that we from St. Louis and shit, and they from down south, they ain't take off running. We just looking and we just walking or whatever. I remember my cousin Bianco kind of getting mad, but Bianco didn't flex up because he was smart. Bianco wasn't scared of no goddamn body, even as a kid. But Bianco was getting ready to say something, but I remember my brother Lawrence being like, "No, don't, he got a gun." And we just kept walking. And that was the most silent walk I've ever taken in my life, because here's a grown man that just pulled a gun on 4 or 5 little black children. And nobody was over 11 years old in that pack. My sister was the oldest one, so she was about 11. If I was 8, she was maybe 10 or 11 years old. My little brother was 6. So we were kids. Bianco and I were the same age. Bubba was like 10. Titi was about 7 or 8 years old. We were kids. And off the porch come a white man, okay? Pointing a shotgun at children. I say all of that to say, black people, I don't give a damn how long we've known these white people or how long we've lived in these neighborhoods. They all see us as prey. And they will try to prey on us in their mass groups like they did Nolan. Took him out on the boat and did what y'all did to him and had the audacity to transport his motherfucking body back in an improper fashion. And these witnesses, the little boy that allegedly did it, his mama a judge and shit, reminds me of that white man that pulled that gun on us because his bitch was a judge or some dumb shit like that, or his daughter or some shit like that. Because I can remember my Aunt Honey calling the police on him and nothing happened. Black people, we are not safe around them. I say all of that to say I'm going to continue to expound on this subject, but I had to get my emotions together because this subject is triggering for me. And it angers me. And it makes me not want to be bothered with white people at all. But I get it. It's not all of y'all. But there are too many of you that'll do shit just like this to black faces and brown faces and Asian faces and Indian faces. But rest in peace to Nolan Wells. May justice be served.